I arrived early enough yesterday that I had some time to walk around and to see the old city, which is beautiful. And I clearly chose the right time of year because the weather is completely glorious. So I had immediately a very happy impression of the city. I have also some of my ancestors are Polish, so even though I don't speak a word of the language, the sound of the language kind of has a resonance with me in my body. So I'm really happy to be here, and we just had the first rehearsal, which was wonderful. The Dean in particular is so difficult. I've played it now, I think this is the fifth orchestra, and it's always, a big learning curve, but the orchestra was so quick and so alert. It's been really wonderful, so I'm really looking forward to Friday night's concert. Absolutely. So the idea of the project was to commission five composers, very different composers of different ages who live in different places and who write in different styles, to write pieces which in one way or another, doesn't have to be a literal way, respond to the five Beethoven piano concerti. And Brett Dean's concerto, obviously, since we're playing the Beethoven Fifth Concerto on the program, responds to the Beethoven Fifth, the Emperor Concerto. And Brett, it was, to me, such a interesting choice for this project because his music has such a personal stamp on it. I mean, anything I hear of his, I don't need to see on the program that it's by Brett Dean. I know it's his music because he has such a voice. And so I was interested to see how someone whose voice is so strong would react to the sort of the project of writing a piece that is in some way based on someone else's music, not someone else's, Beethoven's music, which also has such a strong, maybe uniquely strong profile. And what he came up with is so interesting. I mean, he in fact quotes the Beethoven quite extensively, but the music is completely in his own, not just voice, but language as well. And the way in which he folds in these references to the Beethoven is ingenious and at times also very moving, because the piece is, in a broad sense, about Beethoven's descent into deafness and the enormous professional and personal difficulty that it created for him in his life. So the piece is very clever, it's very hard driving in many senses, but ultimately it's also very, very touching. Beethoven has been, in many ways, at the center of my life. For years, I spent a decade recording the piano sonatas also, and even though I wouldn't say that I necessarily love his music more than Mozart or Schubert, I do feel that there is some kind of an irresistible force in it, that when you listen to one phrase of Beethoven, you forget that everything else exists, in a sense. So I thought that any composer, again, no matter where they come from, what their background is, what sort of style they write in, they will have something to say about Beethoven. And to my delight, it turned out really to be true, that these five composers wrote pieces which are in no way similar to one another. They are also not similar in the way they reference Beethoven. Some of them did it very, very literally, some of them did it totally obliquely. But I feel really, really happy that because of this project, there are now these five additions to the repertoire, which are so interesting and so strong. And while Beethoven was kind of the jumping off point, ultimately these pieces will stand on their own, and they don't eventually need the Beethoven to make sense and to be compelling and to speak to audiences.